She could have gone by her middle name. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
You got the Vincent Chin.
I do.
I got the Vincent Chin. He looks like he's got the Vincent Chin.
No, he couldn't have the Vince. He's got the Van Dyne.
It's close. I got the Van Dyne chin. Yeah.
I'm just gonna try changing it to white.
Janine Frankie.
Yep.
There's another picture.
She walking
This is
home
one of
from
my
going.
favorites.
White popped up. Instantly
Walk to
with hints.
school, and walk back.
Yeah. Do you remember going to the Shalako Indian School?
Yeah.
I'll have to,
Grand- Grandpa Vincent
I'll have to look
did
at this.
something there.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what he had. He used to fight. His fight teams would fight the Shalako Indians.
That's what it was. That's why we went
My
there.
dad had a boxing team.
Who's this?
Back in those days, they'd
What?
be like
Who's this?
basketball.
My mother.
You know,
Oh,
one
wow.
week they'd go.
Her grandmother made sure she was a dancer.
The Shalako Indians had a team.
I'll post that to her picture right now.
They'd have as many, I can't remember all the weight classes they had,
But you know your grandmother's information, right?
but that was real popular
Oh,
back
my
then.
great
Every
grandmother?
week
Yeah,
we'd
your
go to the
great-grandmother.
boxing.
No.
They-
Here's the house they
Shalako Indians
lived
one
in,
time, the next
Portland,
time would be
Oregon. And it,
the
the
Willowford
guy that is the first one, this is my grandmother.
boxers.
Let's see, that
Winfield.
would be my
Yeah, Winfield,
Grandmother.
Kansas, Wichita,
And that
Kansas,
was-
you know.
my
Oklahoma.
grandfather, and he
The
owned,
Shalako Indian
that's
School
her
was
second
in
marriage,
Oklahoma.
because she came over,
Hmm.
I don't think
in
Polka
a
had
covered
a
wagon with another couple,
fight team.
and they split, and
But
then they
Dad
came
had
back when the
a couple
railroad
of good
went
fighters.
through.
He had
to
Red
Portland,
Barton.
Oregon,
Do you
and
remember
Red
Red
this
Barton,
is
Barton?
the
yeah,
second, and
He went
he
along
died.
Dad took him to
and this
Chicago,
one, Florey,
and
had
they
the
drugged him,
livery still
and
underneath
that's
the
when
Ballard
Dad got out of
Bridge.
that fight business.
And then these
Remember
are
that?
their three
And Red
kids.
went to Reno and became a
And I
bouncer
think this one is my
in some
grandfather, that would be my
casino.
grandfather.
Kenny Red Barton,
Kenny Red Barton. And remember Ned and Snooky Pierce?
yeah, they were all on these fight teams. They don't like people fighting anymore. They don't do that.
No, you don't see it much.
I know when I was in high school, that was about the last they had high school boxing.
Still have a lot of
And
wrestling
then
though.
this is my
Yeah, the
mom,
wrestling,
and
yeah.
this is pharmacy
I've
school.
done a little bit of that.
And
Well, you
this is me in
started the
shape.
wrestling in Alaska, didn't you? The wrestling teams?
Yeah,
You
I
got
had
that
in
started in the
Alaska.
school?
All the wrestlers in Alaska. I didn't know much about wrestling. I showed them real fast.
How long were you the principal for, Unc?
Well, trying to think back how many times I was the principal for about 3 or 4 years. Because I taught way before that. Started teaching.
My mom's high school diploma, I didn't take a picture of that.
When you have a teaching degree, you can go just about any place you
Unless
want.
it has any information on it, but nothing, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. I'd have to sit down and try to remember all the places I'm a referee too.
Mhm.
Always get some drunk, you know, get a big fight going, you know, you got 2,000 to 3,000 people. Football wasn't so bad, you know.
Weren't you refereeing or something when you had the appendicitis attack?
I don't know, it's been a long time ago. You don't think you can add things up like that?
What was something crazy your sister did when she was growing up? What was something awful she did?
Which time?
I don't know. She was one tough son of a gun.
Oh, my
She-
dad, do you remember when those kids were outside of our door in Wichita and they had a little rope and they were trying to lure us out? And Dad was watching out the window and he grabbed me and he said, "You see what they're doing out there?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "You see that stick over there?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Go outside, step that trap." He says, "Grab that stick and beat him." So I did.
Tough girl.
I was, still am.
And take a look at what you got that I got. Take a look. Oh, I'm looking right into your brain. There's nothing there.
I'm looking into yours and there's nothing there either. We used to make each other laugh until we got sick.
Oh, you got away with putting snot on me. I had to,
Now, I never did that to you.
you never did that.
No.
Well, we went nose to nose.
We went nose to nose. Remember when Mother turned the hose on us out in the yard because we were fighting? And then you grabbed the hose and turned it onto her and she was getting ready to go to work.
That's true.
Oh, boy, you
We
too.
couldn't do anything to Dad because of
No.
his bad leg.
Well, he wouldn't have thought it was funny either. Remember when he came home and he was drunk? And they brought him
There's
in
another
and laid him
picture,
on the
Mom.
bed and he had a lit cigarette and it went down his throat and you were trying to fish it out. And you grabbed the car keys and you took them away from him and he went out in the car in his underwear and kept honking the horn.
Family history.
Oh, yes.
Of all the people in the family, he probably had the worst going of it.
Yeah.
That leg crippled. And the tough guy too.
Yeah.
Had a big shoe. It's around here someplace with the heel built
No,
up.
Tracy got it. Tracy took it.
Who good?
Tracy.
Well, Tex asked me to send him a big shoe. I sent him one of the big shoes.
I think
Well, you're
Tracy
walking
got the
around
other
and you
one.
got a shoe with a heel that's added to the heel that you got about that big, you know. Osteomyelitis of the hip joint is what he had.
Oh, this was information
He
that I
fell off that
found
roof.
on-
That was it.
Oh,
They had to take 2 inches off.
I
bone.
think this might be
So
her.
instead of having a socket like
That
that,
might
you had
be-
bone to bone.
That
You
one.
wore a shoe
Let's
that
see here.
had a heel that big.
Let's
Where
see
that-
what this is.
Yeah, I
Almost
remember-
take your DNA.
Dragging that
and
big
find
shoe
it.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Back in those days, they
Did you know
didn't,
that?
know how to take care of things. It was just the beginning of that kind of operation. In fact, it was so new that I think he got it free. University of Oklahoma
Was
Medical
that for
School.
styling?
It was at the Bride Clinic,
Oh,
that
That's
Bride
smart, right now.
Orthopedic
Is that
Clinic
your mama?
Yeah.
yeah, maybe that was
in
it.
Norman,
You should write on the back of
Oklahoma.
these,
Yeah.
Lori,
And
so that,
they
Oh,
took a
That's
moving
super
picture, a
important.
Yeah, this
13-hour
is her
moving
grandmother.
picture of
unless John
his,
knows all this information.
the
He doesn't.
operation. And
This
I
is
guess
my
there were a
mom
number of
in the
doctors that
house.
passed out during the course of the time of the operation. And they were still showing that same movie and the
These are
techniques
cool
that they
pictures,
used
too.
to do that
Wow.
to new doctors.
This is
The
way
last I heard,
cool.
they,
All I can remember when I was a
Well,
kid,
this
my
was
dad walked
written
in with a shoe
July 6,
and a heel that big.
1919.
I don't know if you
Dear
ever
Julia
seen it.
this year celebrated the
Took
40th
the whole
Kid
socket
and
out.
they
and
played
it was floating hip
ball
joint, they
on
call
the
it.
beach
Oh,
when the
man.
tide was out. There were about
He
2,000
was,
visitors
he
here
had
for
to
the
live with
fort.
more pain than he
Most of them
deserved.
Indians, Ketchikan, Alaska, and that's the
Then
children's
he had to put up
house.
with us.
Who said that?
we
Friend
were
of
not
hers.
bad kids. I was bad. I was the one that got beat all the time because I was
Well,
the
this is her
black
too.
sheep. You were
What an
the
ass.
golden child. You were
And
the
I
good
love
kid. I was
this.
the bad kid.
I love
I
this.
didn't like to have to deal with pain. I learned real fast.
I was the defiant one. I stood there and grit my
And
teeth.
this is hard.
Take the
because this
beating.
is
Mother
so-
grabbed me and she shook me once and she said, "If you don't cry, he's gonna kill you." I learned to run fast too. I had the Zanks. Do you remember Sharon
This is
Zank,
too
my
bad.
friend?
Yeah, I remember.
I
Big,
lived-
heavy,
At
fat girl.
23,
Yep,
she
I
was
lived half
accepted to
the time with
University
them.
of Michigan to study to
where
be a
we're at.
doctor.
The Zanks,
Shit.
her brother, we call him the Tank. He
Yeah.
was
Big.
Zank the
Didn't make
Tank.
it.
And you know
He
that
played good football.
he did, but you know
This
he
was
got
when she became
injured
a
in football.
Chi Omega
And,
at WSU.
He got a broken bone in his leg and it never healed. And he died of leukemia just shortly, about a year after that injury. He never did heal up from it. And he was just a young kid. He, you know, wasn't even finished with high school yet. Or maybe he just graduated, I don't remember.
Well, I think I was, you and I were pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else I got.
You broke your arm though,
How'd you do that?
playing football.
Yeah,
Were you around for that, Lori? Were you rooting in the stands? Or were
I
you
was
at
around
debate?
for that. Huh?
Or were you on debate?
No, I was playing the bass drum in the band. I did.
I know, you kept yourself busy so you didn't have to go all the way back home.
Malacca. Yeah,
Because weren't you all the way out there?
it was out at Altopia.
What a pain in the butt she was.
Who?
Smartest kid in school.
I was not.
She was a debater.
I did okay there. That's because the school was so cliquish. You know, my class was cliquish. I don't know about everybody else's. But
Oh, mine was too. But I had my own set of friends, so I didn't care.
Well, I had Punky Jane and
Mary Jo.
Jo, except she ratted out on me and joined theater instead of.
She played on the tennis team with me.
Yeah, she did.
Remember Bob
Oh, I love these
Gregson?
pictures.
Huh?
Remember
These are so
Gregson?
great.
Well, he was my tennis coach, of course. I loved
So-
him.
So we were all
Look at
there
that.
at the same
That's
time.
cool.
Yeah.
That's way cool.
That's super cool.
I remember
Well, let's take a
when
quick
I-
look through
Yeah.
this. This
I-
is her memory book.
beat this gal from Kennewick in tennis, and everyone on the Kennewick tennis team, they had beat everyone else. I was the only one, and we were playing to go to the sub-district tournament
Chuck is pretty cute.
in Yakima. And I was so tickled that I beat her because she was really good. And
Sweet.
I ran to tell Gregson, and I said, "I did it for you." And he said, "I want you to learn to do it for
Queen of
yourself."
May, Queens of May, Ethel and whatever.
Good man.
Yeah, he was.
And this is the guy. Look at that. Look at
Well, you were
from-
good
From
friends.
Rensselaer School, but he was
the.
a.
He flew in. Well, she was a
Full
pharmacist
colonel
down there in
in the
Arizona,
Army.
close to the Gila Indian
Hmm.
Reservation.
during.
Look at that one. Isn't that cute?
It was
Whatever.
tough.
I know.
It's a chemistry teacher.
I know.
Yeah,
And then there was,
Bob Gregson.
Gladden.
You should will it to me.
Yeah,
because
glad
I will
Sparky.
take care of
That's
it.
the brain that was a
John will
nut.
take care of it.
Sparky.
And look at that. She was a beauty, I'll tell you.
And the Augustavos, do you remember them?
Remember the name,
He and his wife both taught.
but I think, thinking back to high school,
Swede and Marnie.
you know, after all these years,
Look at that. That's a historic picture. That
there's
water
certain
wagon in Pasco.
knuckleheads that kind of
With
pop out
no-
to you.
Mhm.
You probably have some right now you're thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
The few that touch you. I used to like it, they'd take a
Oh, I
picture
love
of the
this. I
class,
wore that.
each class,
Bathing
you know.
costume.
One
I
of
wore
the
that.
English class of so-and-so teacher,
Shouldn't be
whatever the
cute.
year. Do you remember those? they took pictures, individual pictures of people, but that's no fun.
That's
Who
the
wants to look
bookstore.
at
She worked at the
themselves?
bookstore. She worked her way through
The
college.
ones I like were the ones where they get the whole class
at
in.
school.
Well, some people like to look at
Oh,
themselves.
there's Joey. I remember him. He stole a car and wound up in jail for 10 years.
Cool,
And he was only a junior in high school. Do you remember those pictures? I've got them.
Oh, I
someplace.
do.
There's another
Take
one.
one picture of the whole class,
Mhm.
Isn't that cute?
but it was not, 300 people in the class. It was the English
She
class
enjoyed
of
her life.
so and
She
so,
did.
and the mathematics class of so and
Dogs.
so. So if there's a 7-period day, you'd take 7 pictures of 7 groups of kids. And they'd all switch
This must have
around.
been one of the
Next
English
day,
kids.
The math kids would go to the English kids, and on down to the PE,
That's probably the guy that.
6-period day, you moved around a lot.
So when he was a kid, she has another picture of him.
Yeah.
I remember Jerry Gower and Kenny
We had
Weckham,
Blackfeet.
and it was right before the Pasco-Kennewick football game, and we were rivals. And they decided they were going to burn KHS in the Pasco lawn, in the high school, the Pasco, to start fights between, the rivalry going on between the two schools. And so everybody was all up in arms.
Aw,
They didn't
that's so
know
cute.
that Weckham and Jerry Gower had
Who
done it
that is.
until at a class reunion and Mr. Gower was there and somebody told him that his son was one of the ones that had did that, and it became quite
My
the
dad came
incident
in, he was
at
shooting
the
school
class
shots.
reunion
It was one of the
when his
first
dad found out it was
years
him.
hard on the Grand Coulee Dam.
They were all
He
monkeys. They
shooting
came
slip
up
shots,
during
all
the
the dust and everything got in his eyes, and so his eyes were swollen shut.
Depression and family.
Came into
did.
the pharmacy and she
I can't remember,
cleaned
but
out
the
his
Gowers
eyes.
were.
And the
And
Gowers,
that was it.
probably
2
the
weeks
Dust
later,
Bowl,
he
they
was
probably
during the
migrated and out of that of the
cemetery,
depression.
because that was the only green place in town. he
Migrated from
said.
Oklahoma.
She said, "Yep."
Where did you migrate from? Anchorage, Alaska?
Snohomish.
Snohomish, Washington, yeah. Well, we migrated from
Where?
Pasco.
That was
Actually, we migrated from our Kansas City, Kansas.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
see what
that's
else
where
we
we were
got
born.
here.
We spent a lot of time in
That's just-
Ponca,
Ponca
That's
City.
her.
Oklahoma.
Oil country. That's,
When she
that's where
graduated.
all the oil is, from there on south.
Yeah. It smelled like oil when you got into
Remember I
town.
had Parker.
It's cool, seeing a class.
Those guys knew how to drill for oil. They could use those guys right now up north.
Look at these old pictures.
Biggest oil fields in the world is from Oklahoma to
Yeah.
Texas.
Hmm.
Sit down there, there's thousands of oil wells
River,
drilled.
Wild School.
Our family has a history of oil. Go back far
I
enough.
don't think that's me. I just
Everybody was
wondered
drilling
about
for
this.
oil.
Maybe that is me. She was so cute.
Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas,
There she is. Oh,
Nebraska.
at
You go
Burbank
on
Heights.
north,
You
then
can
move
feel
out
that she's not
south. No, a little bit east and west.
There's that crash.
That would be an interesting paper to write
My dad and
for a
mom.
doctor's thesis. The oil fields of America, right in the center.
43.
That's where they were. Kansas,
She worked as a pharmacist. I
Oklahoma,
love that.
Texas, Nebraska, some in Colorado.
I had all the
That's where
pictures
the
up.
big
You remember when I
money
used to
was
have all the
made.
family pictures up?
Shaw
Right
and
here,
Huh?
yeah. Yeah, I remember some of them.
Yeah, keep,
all the
keep
big
them
oil
all down.
companies came out of Texas.
Oh,
Drugs.
Oh, there's somebody out here.
We got it.
hey, Juanita!
She knows somebody.
What you got?
What a great time this has been.
Yep, we're gonna have to get going soon. We have to go to see Tracy in a bit. But,
That guy,
That guy,
that trouble.
Yeah. This is
double.
our neighbor.